the SNL legend tackling the subjects that most comedians wouldn't dare go near.
Are attacking wokeness. Is wokeness in comedy on its last legs?
Well, I think it has to be. It has to be close to collapse, as my good friend James Lindsay said. It's about 12, 18 months before it collapses.
Rob Schneider, a name synonymous with comedy and lighthearted entertainment, has recently found himself at the center of a fierce cultural debate, one that pits him against the very industry that made him a household name. Over the past few years, Schneider has become an outspoken critic of what many refer to as woke culture, a broad and often contentious term used to describe a heightened awareness and activism around social justice issues, often within the context of race, gender, and identity. As this cultural movement has gained momentum, so too has the backlash from various quarters, with Schneider emerging as one of its most vocal critics in Hollywood. His public stance has not only sparked intense discussions, but has also revealed the deep fissures within the entertainment industry, making him both a hero and a villain, depending on who you ask. Before we start, hit the like and subscribe buttons for more exclusive news. To understand Rob Schneider's position and its impact on Hollywood, it's essential to first dissect the nature of woke culture itself. At its core, woke culture advocates for a greater sensitivity towards issues of social justice, striving to correct historical injustices and inequalities. This movement has led to a significant shift in how entertainment is produced and consumed, with a growing emphasis on diversity, representation, and political correctness. For many, these changes are a necessary and long overdue course correction, a way to ensure that all voices are heard and respected in a society that has often marginalized certain groups. However, for others, including Schneider, this cultural shift represents an overreach, a stifling of creativity and free expression in favor of a rigid, ideologically driven agenda. Schneider's criticism of woke culture is not merely the ranting of an aging comedian longing for the good old days. Instead, it is a well-articulated critique rooted in his belief that the current cultural climate in Hollywood is suffocating the very essence of comedy and creativity. In numerous interviews and social media posts, Schneider has expressed his concern that the entertainment industry has become obsessed with avoiding offense at all costs, leading to a homogenization of content where risk-taking and boundary pushing, once the hallmarks of great comedy, are now seen as liabilities. He argues that the fear of backlash from the woke crowd has led to a culture of self-censorship, where creators are more concerned with adhering to the prevailing orthodoxy than with producing content that is genuinely funny, thought-provoking, or challenging. One of the central tenets of Schneider's argument is that comedy, by its very nature, is supposed to be provocative. Great comedians have always pushed the envelope, tackling taboo subjects and making audiences uncomfortable in the process. This discomfort, Schneider argues, is not a bug but a feature of comedy. It forces people to confront uncomfortable truths and question their assumptions. In his view, the current trend towards sanitizing comedy to avoid offending anyone is not only killing the art form, but also preventing important societal conversations from taking place. Comedy, Schneider insists, should be a space where nothing is off limits, where the freedom to offend is protected as a fundamental aspect of artistic expression. Schneider's critique extends beyond comedy to the broader cultural landscape of Hollywood. He has spoken at length about how the industry's embrace of woke culture has led to what he sees as a decline in the quality of content being produced. According to Schneider, the insistence on checking all the right ideological boxes has resulted in a formulaic approach to storytelling, where characters are reduced to mere vehicles for social justice messages rather than being fully realized individuals with complex motivations. This, he argues, has led to a bland, predictable entertainment landscape where audiences are being spoon-fed moral lessons rather than being entertained or challenged. A significant aspect of Schneider's argument is his belief that Hollywood's embrace of woke culture is driven more by fear and virtue signaling than by genuine concern for social justice. He has pointed out that many of the industry's most vocal advocates for woke culture are the same individuals who, for years, turned a blind eye to the systemic issues they now claim to care about. For Schneider, this hypocrisy is emblematic of a broader problem in Hollywood, where appearances often matter more than substance. He argues that the industry's sudden pivot towards woke culture is less about effecting real change and more about protecting its image in an increasingly polarized and socially conscious environment. Schneider's position on woke culture has not come without consequences. In an industry that is increasingly aligning itself with progressive values, his outspoken criticism has made him a controversial figure. Some have accused him of being out of touch with the times, clinging to outdated notions of comedy and entertainment. Others have gone further, labeling him as reactionary or even regressive, suggesting that his views are indicative of a broader backlash against the progress that has been made in terms of diversity and inclusion in Hollywood. However, Schneider has not backed down. In fact, the pushback he has received has only strengthened his resolve. He has continued to speak out against what he sees as the excesses of woke culture, even as he acknowledges that doing so has likely cost him opportunities within the industry. For Schneider, the issue is not about clinging to the past, but about preserving the integrity of the creative process. He argues that in a truly free society, artists should be able to create without fear of censorship, whether that censorship comes from the government or from a vocal minority of activists. One of the most compelling aspects of Schneider's critique is his insistence that the audience, not a vocal minority of activists, should be the ultimate arbiter of what is acceptable in comedy and entertainment. He has pointed out that many of the works now deemed problematic by woke culture were, at the time of their release, hugely popular with audiences. This, he argues, suggests that there is a disconnect between what the general public finds offensive and what a small but vocal group of activists considers unacceptable. Schneider believes that this disconnect is a significant problem, as it allows a minority to dictate the terms of cultural production for the majority. This argument taps into a broader debate about the role of art and entertainment in society. Should art be primarily about challenging societal norms and pushing for progress, or should it be about reflecting the world as it is, warts and all? Schneider clearly falls into the latter camp, believing that the role of the artist is to hold up a mirror to society, even if what is reflected back is uncomfortable or controversial. He argues that by sanitizing content to make it more palatable to woke sensibilities, Hollywood is not only failing its audience, but also abdicating its responsibility as a cultural institution. Schneider's critique of woke culture has also touched on the issue of diversity in Hollywood, a topic that has become increasingly contentious in recent years. While he acknowledges the importance of representation and the need for more diverse voices in the industry, he argues that the current approach to diversity is flawed. In Schneider's view, the focus on ticking diversity boxes has led to a superficial approach to representation, where the mere presence of diverse characters is celebrated, regardless of the quality or depth of their portrayal. He believes that true diversity in Hollywood should be about more than just numbers. It should be about creating complex, nuanced characters who reflect the diversity of the human experience. This stance has led Schneider to be labeled by some as anti-diversity, a characterization he strongly rejects. He argues that his critique is not about opposing diversity, but about opposing tokenism and the reduction of complex social issues to simplistic feel-good narratives. Schneider believes that by focusing on appearances rather than substance, Hollywood is doing a disservice to both the audience and the very people it claims to be uplifting. He has called for a more nuanced approach to diversity, one that prioritizes storytelling and character development over ideological purity. Schneider's position on woke culture has also led him to question the role of the media in shaping public opinion. He has argued that the media, particularly in Hollywood, plays a significant role in amplifying woke culture, often at the expense of alternative viewpoints. Schneider believes that the media's focus on promoting a particular narrative has created an environment where dissenting voices are marginalized or silenced altogether. This, he argues, is dangerous not only for the entertainment industry, but for society as a whole, as it stifles the free exchange of ideas and discourages critical thinking. The impact of Schneider's critique on his career has been significant. Once a staple of mainstream comedy, he has found himself increasingly on the fringes of the industry, as his views have made him a polarizing figure. However, Schneider seems to have embraced this role, using his platform to continue speaking out against what he sees as the dangers of woke culture. He has found a receptive audience among those who share his concerns about the direction in which Hollywood is heading, particularly among comedians and entertainers who feel that their ability to create freely is being threatened. If you liked this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, Could you leave your comments below and tell us, what's your take on Rob Schneider's critique of woke culture? We want to hear from you. Thank you for watching and see you next time.